Hey guys, this is Jonathan Henderson with Pressure Washing Marketing Pros. In today's video, I want to go ahead and talk to you guys about your first hire as a pressure washing business, because I know that first hire can be very pivotal in any business, and also it can be the most daunting hire because you don't have any experience, because we say, what attributes do we need to look for in this person? What position do I need to go ahead and hire? And so in this video, I want to go ahead and shed some light based off the experience that I have working with over 75 exterior cleaning businesses on my suggestion for your first hire as a pressure washing business. So let's get straight into this video. So in my personal opinion, I think that the first hire that a pressure washing business owner should make should be an office manager. And let me tell you why. Is because one big problem that I see that really restrains a lot of guys from exponentially growing is going to be answering the phone, following up with customers, having that time that it really takes to develop a sales system, having that time that it really takes to develop a marketing strategy, and to even work on your sales. Because when we first start off in a business, as any business owner, it doesn't matter what business you're in, you're 20% in sales, 20% in marketing, like 20% in actually doing the job, and you wear so many different hats. And so what a lot of guys, their first inclination is to hire another technician. And I can understand the reason for that. You think that if you hire another technician that you're gonna do the job 2 to 3 times faster, and you're like, all right, then this guy is gonna help me get these jobs done 2 to 3 times faster. But guess what? You're dropping the ball still on following up with customers, answering the phone, because one of the biggest things that I think that prevents, and you guys know me being the owner of a marketing agency and seeing our clients and results and all of that, one of the biggest hindrances and things that holds guys back is being able to answer the damn phone. Because especially when they're starting off and they're at that like 100,000 in revenue a year, 150,000 in revenue a year, they have enough work to where it starts to become a little difficult to be able to answer the phone and then be able to provide a phenomenal service to all of their customers. And so that's why when you insert an office manager in there, I'm telling you, I've seen it, guys grow by like 20 to 30%, in their first year after hiring an office manager. And why is that? It's because when we tend to hire somebody, based off of the work that we did. And remember, as business owners, we wear 7 different hats. And so when you're looking up a description for an office manager, you might just say, all right, then I just need somebody to answer the phone and just give out a couple of quotes, and that's about it. And then you're misutilizing that person, because I've seen guys make mistakes of hiring office managers where they're like, man, I didn't have enough work for that individual, or B, they give that individual too much work sometimes. But usually the most consistent scenario that I see is when guys are underutilizing their office manager. Because when we hire, and we all tend to do this, we tend to hire for the work that we did as a business owner. And so since we wear 7 different hats, we just think this person's gonna fulfill this one hat, not knowing that that person has, 6x or 6 times as much time as we have, right? They have 6 times more free time than we may have. So you can go ahead and utilize that time with that person and give them more tasks. And that's what you do when you have an office manager, because it's like a cannibalization and a duplication of tasks when you hire a technician. For example, if you hire a technician, you gotta train that technician, but you're still having to answer client calls. You're still having to go out and give estimates. You're still having to go ahead and create invoices, right? You're still having to input things into the CRM. You're still having to worry about marketing and sales and doing all of that. You're still having to do that, but it maybe is easier on you physically to have somebody to do that job for you, because we think that, all right, that guy's doing the job, it frees me up more time to go sell and do this. But if you had an office manager, what that ends up being able to let you do is that now you can focus solely on just completing the jobs and sales and marketing, because you can get that office manager to not only answer the phone, but they can input, customer details into your CRM. They can follow up with customers that you may have worked with in the past year. Because what a lot of guys don't leverage, they don't leverage database reactivation. They don't leverage that. And imagine having that for you right there, that you hire somebody and all they simply do, if you had an office manager, all they simply do is you tell them, hey Kathy, can you go to my CRM today and can you go to the customers that I worked with, or can you go to all the customers that I worked with last year and see who we haven't worked with this year, and just give them a call and say that we appreciate the service, we appreciate all the work that we did for them, and it looks like that we did a great job for them because they left us a 5-star review, and see if they need any work to be done this year as well. Because when you have an office manager, you can diversify all of that. You don't have to worry about invoices. You don't have to worry about inputting, things into the CRM. You don't have to worry about the phone being answered at that point. So you already know your customers are being taken care of. So that allows you to even do just as much work as a technician does. And so when you actually have an office manager and yourself, you're able to then bring on a technician once you grow to that place, because that office manager will definitely get you there, because it frees up all your time, like I said, to sell and to do other things. Because I will say this once again, when we hire people, we end up hiring them, right, for just the task, for just one task that we do, just for one hat that we fulfill, when usually a person can fulfill 2 to 3 hats, because we're one person, aren't we? We're one person, and yes, we're the business owner, but sometimes we think too highly of ourselves as a business owner, to where we say, well, that person, I do 8, I have these 8 hats, this person could probably only do 1. When that's not the truth. If you can manage all 8 of those hats, and that person, you only hired them for just 1 hat, they can probably do 2 or 3 different hats in your business as well. And so whenever you have a technician, they're very limited on what they can do for you in that sense. Very limited. They can only really fulfill 1 hat at that time, because you're gonna have to train them. But the normal progression that I see of guys that grow exponentially faster, what ends up happening is they hire an office manager, that person answers the phone, follows up with customers. They ask for 5-star reviews, because that's another thing that you can go ahead and do with that office manager as well. You can have them call customers and say, hey, can you leave us a Google review and follow up? And you're not manually doing that yourself. And of course, your software is like Nice Job and these other review generation softwares that allow you to do that, like Responsive, but it's also nice to get a physical touch and to follow up with that customer and add that personal touch, right? And so when you have that once you have the office manager in place, it frees you up so that you can, once you have that technician, you're really getting off the ground, because now that technician, once you train them up at that point, you already have somebody answering the phones, you already have somebody familiar with their CRM, you already have somebody that's familiar with their customers. Now you also have another individual that is going ahead and they're completing the jobs for you. And that completely allows you to go ahead and sell, because now that technician that you're training up, hopefully you're training them up to be your lead technician, because that lead technician, once you train that person up, what they're able to do is that any other technician that you bring on, they're able to train that person themselves. But that's why I always say, when it comes to exterior cleaning businesses, that office manager is the most pivotal hire, and I think it should be the first hire. I've told a lot of my clients this, and the ones that take action on it, that they hire an office manager, those are the guys that I know that are hiring other positions really fast. The other guys that I see that just always have technicians or helpers, they leave a lot of jobs to be had on the table, because then when they get too busy, what ends up happening, they don't follow up with customers. They don't go ahead and call customers back. Like one of my clients, he knows who he is because I just talked to him this week, but we've gotten this guy 101 leads, this in the past 30 days. But he got his first 1-star review this past week. And why did he get that this past week? Because the customer, it was very credible what they said, but what ended up happening is that the customer had contacted our client multiple times to get an estimate. And on 3 separate occasions, our client dropped the ball, because he said, hey, can you go ahead and send me a text with the job, like of pictures and descriptions of the job that you need? Then he didn't follow back up with them because he's too busy out there in the field with his other 2 techs and helpers. Because for him, he doesn't have an office manager. He has himself and 2 helpers. And so that still leaves him to still dropping the ball when it comes to answering the phone. He's still having to do the invoices. He's still having to do all of that and manage his team with that. But once you have an office manager as well, one of the big benefits you also have is that they can help you with your schedule. They can schedule out everything for you in terms of when you need to give out estimates, what technician needs to be on this job. And you're not having to do that. You're not having to do that at all, right? It also sets that standard and precedence in place. So when you already have that office manager in place, whenever you bring in that technician, they already know that this office manager is solidified, they're submitted in your organization. So when that office manager tells them like, hey, you need to be at this place at this time, they're more apt to listen in the very beginning, opposed to you get that technician, then you bring an office manager in, and that person's so accustomed to you telling them where to go and what to do that they might not treat that office manager with the same respect. So that's why I always tell guys, I see the biggest exponential growth for guys whenever they have an office manager as one of their first hires. And so, like I said, and like I will keep restating, having an office manager and the benefits: they get to call customers back. They get to go ahead and act as your, mini salesperson in that sense, right? They get to go ahead and give customers quotes. And this even gets, you add more fuel to the fire when you have software like ResponsiBid. Because what ends up happening when you have software like ResponsiBid is that you're getting an unequivocal quote, right? It's non-biased, right? And you're getting the same standard quote out. So for example, if that office manager takes a call in and that person's giving them the dimensions of their home, what they need done, all of these different things, you have your office manager use ResponsiBid and they're able to go ahead and give a over the phone quote to that potential customer. Or what they can do is they can give them a range and say, hey, you as a business owner, they can call you and say, hey, can you, I set this estimate up that you need to do on Thursday at this time. So now you got your schedule and everything else organized, categorized, and like I said, that office manager allows you to fulfill 3 to 4 different hats and take away like 30 to 40% of your work, while a technician is only really helping you on one vertical, which is just a manual physical labor. And I understand how that is. I'm in Florida. I know this heat is terrible, right? I know it's terrible, and you're like, look, I need somebody else on this job. But I promise you, if you hire that office manager first, you're going to grow by 20 to 30% like that, and you'll be able to hire that lead technician or that technician that you want to help you out first, because it's infinitely easier to go ahead and hire that office manager first than it is to have that lead tech. So yes guys, when it comes to having an office manager, stay at home mom, and it doesn't have to be in a physical location. There's websites like Hire My Mom. There's a lot of single mothers, there's a lot of women that have husbands that, because I know I make it seem bad when I say there's a lot of single mothers, right? I didn't mean it in that way, but there's a lot of people looking for stay-at-home moms, I should say. That should sound better. But there's like stay-at-home moms, right, that want to go ahead and have a job that they can work from at home, right? With the advent of COVID or the addition of COVID, procedures and all of that, people are more accustomed to working from home. So that office manager position allows you to hire the best talent that you can have, whether that may be in the Philippines, whether that may be South America because they're on the same time zone as us, or maybe even here in America. You can leverage the best talent because it doesn't have to be in a physical office location. It can still be from an at-home position, right? So you're not having to just worry about the local talent that you're getting as well, right? You're able to hire the best talent from a pool that's worldwide. So that's why I say having an office manager as your first position, or even having somebody like as an assistant, whatever it may be, is the most pivotal hire and the first hire you should be making in your exterior cleaning business. But other than that though guys, I appreciate you for watching this video. If you guys need help with your marketing strategy, if you need help with your website SEO, Google ads, or Facebook ads, whatever it may be, go ahead in the description, click the Get Free Strategy, click the free strategy session URL and book a call with us so that we can help you take your pressure washing business or exterior cleaning business to new heights. But thank you guys once again for watching the video, and we'll see you in the next one.